Hey everybody, sorry about the technical difficulty this morning. We have Curtis Broome with us this morning, just all to ourselves. I'm so excited. Um, I want to do a little bit of an introduction with him. Curtis and Lisa are a team, and I actually first met Curtis and became associated with Curtis with the GoPro event, which everybody knows that we're pushing the GoPro event like big time because the way that I see it, doTERRA's convention is like killer for us to get going on our education and the community with doTERRA itself. The GoPro event is that's just an event that will get you moving and believing and rocking and rolling in the network marketing profession as a whole. And so I just want to share just a second with you because you all know that I don't do a ton of just my personal training. And so when I'm in constant mode of searching for things that are going to help you. And no matter how much I love and adore Lisa and Curtis, if I didn't think that they had something of value to offer you, I would not be doing this. And so I just want you to know that I'm not just throwing stuff out there to you willy-nilly. This is something that I think is very valuable. I think the relationship with them for me has just been incredible. And I think that I know that you guys are going to benefit from this as well. So in our Facebook team group, I told you that I was going to be doing a giveaway this morning. And so the first person that gets on and comments gets a prize. And so I just want to show you this is what your prize is. And the prize goes to Tia Broderick, because Tia was the first one on, first one to engage, and
Tia.
Yeah, I really just want to honor you guys and thank you so much for coming alongside with me and honoring Lisa and Curtis in showing up for these events. So I'm going to do a couple more giveaways towards the end of this. So grab your notepad and get ready to learn from Curtis. He's amazing. So take it away, Curtis.
Who is she talking about? Hey, Romy, how are you doing? Listen, this is so much fun. I was so sorry that I wasn't able to hop on last week. I wanted to at least be able to say hi. I wasn't able to do that, but I know Lisa kicked you guys off great. And it's going to be tons of fun as we do this. And so, gang, for everybody watching in, just understand that I'm I'm a bit overwhelmed by that introduction, but I told Romy this morning, having looked at her Facebook page, I'm tremendously jealous because I should be the one on that beautiful motorcycle. But anyway, it's a pleasure to spend some time with you guys because Romy really represents, what our profession's about and the best of the best, and that is people who their success is because they truly work extremely hard and are committed and dedicated to helping others who are willing to help themselves, and that's certainly part of the process. There's no way to give anybody success, and you can't do it for them, but you can certainly do it with them. And Romy, I love the way you started. I believe in the same thing. When I first started in this profession 25 years ago, I was horrific at it. Didn't listen to anybody. I thought I was smarter than the profession. I figured, oh, this is simple stuff my grandma did in her living room. I mean, this can't be difficult. And so I didn't listen. I came from a sales background, and I sold everybody. I mean, I sponsored a ton of people. I think everybody I got in front of, I almost put in, but I suddenly realized, years later looking back, it's because I think they felt so brutalized. They were just, it was less expensive emotionally to just sign up and do whatever they had to do to get me to stop being so relentless. And that's not what we do here. This is really a world of finding people who choose what you've chosen because it makes sense for them. As Lisa talked about last week, it's about treating people with dignity and respect, where you don't have to do a presentation. You don't need to be a presentation specialist. You should be a conversationalist. And conversation is about connection. It's about relationship building. It's building connection and common ground. And then going through that. And by the way, this can all happen sometimes in a few short minutes. But if your focus is in the right way, then human connection, that we are connective animals. And so I agree with you, though, that people must immerse themselves in the company that they've chosen to align with in those events, those corporate events, because that's where you get to spend so much time with so many like-minded people. It creates, so when you say, you know, you attend the doTERRA conventions and regional events, you have to, because it creates this tremendous internal strength when you realize, you know, there are so many who are like-minded like you. It creates this huge emotional, uplifting, and very powerful support reaction. That's why. That's one of the reasons that's important. I've always believed that company events are more important rather than anything that happens on the stage. Though you can get great information coming from the stage out to you, it's the relationships, it's the breaks, it's the meeting after the meeting, it's the sessions between the sessions, it's the time at lunch, the time at dinner, the time in the hotel lobby until 4 o'clock in the morning when you realize you got to get up at 6, but you're so immersed in it, there's so many wonderful people. That's the power of the events, is coming together. The reason I think things like GoPro and other things, anything that you can do, it's the reading that you do, it's the personal development you do, it's reaching outside just your company, doing so appropriately. As you said, make sure that as leadership you evaluate it, because you always want to protect your group by making sure they're in front of the right information, but getting those perspectives, because there are so many in the world who have had decades of expertise who really will come from a servant leadership standpoint, and they are willing to give and share, because we realize that a rising tide floats all boats, and if we can raise the level of competence in the profession as a whole, regardless of the company you're in, then that's a benefit to all of us. You know, outside the profession, there are sometimes these negative perceptions, but what people, I think, need to put in perspective, there's no such thing as a bad company. There's no such thing as a bad institution. There's no such thing as there's no such thing as a company. I don't care if it says 3 letters IBM, or if it says Microsoft, or it says whatever, it says General Motors. There is no such thing as companies. There are collective gatherings of people who may walk into a building that has 3 letters on it or a different name. If nobody walked into the building, it's just an architectural structure. The question is, are there good or bad people? There was nothing wrong with Enron as a company. There were some really people, unfortunately, in positions of strength and influence who did some horrific things. And there are also people out there who do great things in those things. Network marketing is a beautiful profession. There are people who have taken advantage of it inappropriately in ways that it created a different perception in the market than what those of us who do it right are able to create within our own teams, and we all know that. So that's why those are the types of things we like to share with people, because it starts to expand their perception of the profession they're in, and allow them to take a lot of pride in it. What we want to do, though, is then we want to go to the next level. And so we try and step back. After 25 years of experience, after 2 years of failure, I found someone who, as I was quitting the profession, I mean, I was leaving 23 years ago, I was like, like we've always said, not everybody should be a doctor, not everybody should be a school teacher, not everybody should be a truck driver, not everybody should be a network marketer. And that's the truth. I think maybe 20% of the people who take a look at it, if they really truly evaluate it, maybe 30, this could be something that would be a good fit for them. And whether it creates a good result is really up to them and their efforts and their willingness to commit to the process of growth. But for 70–80% of the folks, it's not. I don't necessarily think it's necessarily a good fit. I think as a consumer, when you have great products like doTERRA does, and so many companies, when you have great products, I think the products are a wonderful benefit for everybody. But the reality, as a business, and as something to really do something, if you want to make a couple $100 a month, that's fine. But if somebody really wants to pursue it and over time create something of significance, I don't necessarily think this is a plan that fits everybody. And I think it would be naive to think that anything would be something that fits everybody. And so I think if you approach it properly, what happened for me is I was quitting. I decided, man, it's just not for me. I guess I just don't get it. And I had a mentor who basically, metaphorically, grabbed me by the throat, kicked me squarely in the pants, and slapped me in the face and said, now you got 2 choices: shut up and listen and do, or get out. But one or the other. You're not healthy for the profession. And he caught me at the right time, where I finally said, fine, I'll pretend to not be smart, which was really the real proof of the pudding. I wasn't that smart. And I had a great mentor, and within 6 months was a 6-figure earner, and then went on and had great success. Not because I was smart, but because I found smart people I could listen to. And so we share that with you because in the years since, for a period of time, I was a president of a NASDAQ traded for about 6 years, a NASDAQ traded $200+ million a year company. So we've been on the executive side, Lisa and I have right now a position that's a seven-figure year position in a legacy team. We do both, and we understand it. So let's talk about the business of network marketing after having just kind of established a little bit of that, because here's where I think some people have challenges. It can be very part-time. The thing that I love about our profession is if I line up 1,000 people, they will truly, if we can have the conversation and get right down to it, and a conversation about them, not about me, but about them, it has nothing to do with my desires or what I want to do, what their true core desire or objective is, there will be 1,000 different outcomes. The magic of this profession is this profession can help every single one of them achieve their desired outcome. Whether it's a grandmother who wants to make an extra $200 or $300 a month to spoil the grandkids a little extra that grandpa doesn't know about, not a problem. We can do that. It's a school teacher who that is his or her true emotional calling. Their passion till the day they drop is they want to be empowering the lives of children by helping them develop their minds. And so they don't ever want to not be a teacher, but gosh, I wish I made more money because I just don't make enough. And what can I do to work around what is also my passion that will allow me the financial freedom? I don't have to be wealthy. I just need some comfort for myself and my family. We can do that here. A university student who has college loans, they want to research biomedical things to change the health of the future of humankind, but they've got a bunch of loans to pay off. We can help them do that too. Someone who says, I'm making 80 to 100,000 a year. I hate what I'm doing. I don't need to be rich. If you could make me 100,000 a year, and I could just love what I do, that's a great thing. This wealth thing, I'm not worried about that. We can help them do that. And if someone says, I want to change the financial destiny of my generations to follow, we can do that. Now, the path and the process and the plan to achieve that $300 a month for grandma, or changing the financial destiny of my family for generations to come, those are vastly different paths that will be walked. But the profession can accomplish that. If we know what they want, we can effectively guide anyone to get there. But they have to be willing to put in the effort. But where I think the challenge is, if at the core, at least as leadership, and everybody on this hangout and everybody who will watch it later, you are leadership. And I don't care if you've been a part of the Roman Clark team in doTERRA for 10 minutes. The number one rule of leadership is you showed up. So you're here today, you're part of the leadership team, period. You could be doing anything, you could have done anything else. There are a lot of people who could be on this hangout who aren't here live, and you are the leadership. Your time in space and your expertise is irrelevant. Leaders first show up. See, leaders lead only because people are following. If there's nobody following, you're not leading, by the way. And people will only follow someone who's worthy of being followed. And so that's a choice and a decision you make. Once that happens, though, if you're truly effectively going to lead and not accidentally lead people off the cliff, it helps if you have some basic understandings that are internalized so that you instinctively perceive things a little differently because there are some basic understandings. And one of the things that's always, because I had a traditional business background before I entered networking, and that's where I wanted to start because that's what we've often heard. People are talking about network marketing, and then they'll sometimes say, well, in a traditional business. The problem with making that statement is that appears to be making the assumption that network marketing is not traditional business. So I want to show you something. Here's where we're going to start real quick. We're going to start with the theory of the business of network marketing and why it is that some people think inaccurately that it's not traditional. Here is, let's call this, let's take a look at, let's say, traditional business. Let's say this is Tide's laundry detergent, okay? And I think it's Procter & Gamble. It may not be, but some giant conglomerate makes Tide. Here's the way it works. First of all, in order to be in business, they have an expense that they have to put in place to procure product. Okay, so they've got to procure the product. Now, in this particular case, they manufacture the product. So what this entails is they've got to acquire raw materials. They take those raw materials, they manufacture the finished good product through their manufacturing systems, their overhead, the manufacturing facilities, the equipment. They get that laundry detergent that's in this final box as it spits out the line at the end. They take those finished boxes, they stick them in what are called master cases, 15 or 20, 30 at a time. They take those big brown box master cases, they put them on pallets. They shrink wrap the whole thing. Those pallets are picked up by 18-wheel tractor trailer rigs and taken out to a distribution warehouse. That's product procurement. Okay. Next, They have to incur marketing expense because they're in the business of having to create a brand. They've got to create a name that people want to associate with. And okay, let's say in this particular case, this is a multi-bazillion dollar operation. So it's radio, TV, newspaper, magazines, bill, whatever it is. It's paying the grocery stores a lot of money for shelf space location, so it's eye level instead of at the bottom. But they spend a lot of money here in brand positioning so that we're aware of it, so that stage 3 they can drive revenue and hope that the revenue is greater than all that. Welcome to traditional business. Now, let's take a look for a second at Amway. They're the largest in our space. So let's take a look. Why? Because they make laundry detergent as well. Okay? Now, they happen to be so large at a $13 billion a year group, they happen to do the same thing. They have to procure product, and they actually manufacture their own, so they're the same. From acquisition of raw material to manufacturing finished product, putting it in master cases, getting it over to the warehouse, they do the same thing. So they're exactly alike. Here's where it is non-traditional, but only for the network marketing company is it non-traditional. For network marketing company, they invert these two. They go straight from product procurement to revenue. They go straight to profit because they move their product through independent distributors. So they have sold the product at their full selling price, which is the distributor price. They've made all their profit because they only incur their marketing dollars after they've incurred revenue, because marketing is commission in network marketing. So only for Amway is it not traditional. Because let me show you what it's like if you're a distributor. A distributor, in order to begin their business, they have to procure product. Now, the difference is these are multi-billion dollar operations and they spend tens of millions of dollars to procure product. Over here, you can start for a couple $100 to maybe $1,000 or whatever the range of the initial packages are. But this is still the model. A distributor has to procure product. Next, they have to spend money to market. Now, it may just be walking next door to the neighbor, but that takes time. Time is the most valuable asset we have in our life. Your time has a tremendous dollar value that could be assigned to it. Nothing else. The 30 minutes you spend, if you were just going to go work a job, is 30 minutes you can't be working at your salary. So marketing is, in fact, an investment. So that then, hopefully, a distributor can create enough revenue over time. Well, yeah, Amway's not traditional. Whether you're Procter & Gamble or whether you're a network marketing distributor, that's your business model. This is business. And business follows certain fundamental principles. I don't care if you're going to run a lemonade stand. You've got to at least go get the plastic pitcher. You've at least got to go procure the powder and get some paper cups to pour it in. You've at least got to go wander around the neighborhood. You've got to, in other words, every business is business, which comes to this. There are 3 stages of business. Stage number 1, there's always an initial expense to establish the business. Businesses that are sustainable, stage number 2, the business has to get to break even. Now, nobody gets excited about getting in business to break even, but if you don't achieve a break even where you're making as much as you're spending, or you're spending no more than you're making, a business is not sustainable. It's going to fail and go out of business. And then stage 3, the reason we got into business, then you want to get into profit because that's its long-term value. I mean, nobody's like, hey, let's go get into business to break even. Well, how about if I just don't start the business and I'll keep all my money, I broke it even. But this is business, period. And so that's the key. If we really, even if it's part-time and a little bit of, if you want to take your doTERRA business seriously, even if it's part-time and fun. Now, by the way, it can be fun. In fact, it should be. If network marketing, if you're not having a blast because it's people business, you're missing the whole thing. But assuming that you have great respect for the doTERRA products, and they're great products, and if you're proud of them, if you don't believe your product is worth the value proposition and the price that it is to be shared to the consumer, get out of the business. You shouldn't be in doTERRA. Quit right now, walk away. Use them or give them away or whatever. So if you believe that your product truly is of value, and you believe the retail value is worthwhile, then be proud of your business and at least know that these are the stages. So when Lisa talked last week about hot market, the concept was it's a really natural human behavior. And that's the other thing that we want to share. If you're not coming to network marketing with a lot of business experience, entrepreneurial experience, you don't need it. Because done properly, network marketing, as Lisa said, it's not about selling. As Lisa said, there are certain things that have to be sold. Cars, houses, those are big, expensive items. That takes a professionally trained salesperson who understands how to overcome price concern, deal with benefits and features, and put those things together and handle objections and move to a close to execute transactions. We don't do that in network marketing. Network marketing, done properly, you simply want to present information and give people a choice, knowing that some will choose yes and some will choose no, and welcome to life. That's, you know, the magic of network marketing. If network marketing is what you've chosen to be a part of, it's about building relationship. That's why, as Lisa said last week, you have conversation. You don't do present. Yes, the Tuesday night hotel meeting business presentation, that's different. It is your relationship with someone, though, that got them there. That should have happened through conversation. That presentation is because one person is doing a presentation for many. That's fine. They're just getting information out so that you don't have to. That's why it's called duplication, so that one person can present, everybody sees the same thing, but what makes it happen is that if that information is presented well enough, it gives you the opportunity that after that to continue that relationship, continue that conversation, to give those people a choice. And if they truly are in their heart, they're looking for something, information properly presented gives them more data to evaluate, so that if the conversation is such that they say, and I like these people, and this seems like a good team, it seems like this could work, then they can make that decision. So if someone understands, if we all understand mentally, look, this is where I am. I'm in a traditional business, and these are the phases, and if I just know that, it's not a big financial outlay to get started. It's not a massive amount of money per month, but if I understand this, I don't need to think about it again. I just know that. And then if I know this, then naturally my behavior will be in alignment with it. Because that's what my mentor told me. He said, Curtis, the reason you're failing is you are out of alignment with the laws of gravity, if you will, the laws of the universe of network marketing, and you are out of alignment with the laws of natural human behavior as it applies to network marketing. And so once I understood that, then I could come back and we could say, okay, how do I change what I'm doing so that I can now, as he said, if you try and fight, here's the analogy he gave me. Okay, Romy, I'd say, here, Romy, here's what I want you to do. I'd like you to hold out your arm right there against your shoulder. There you go. And then you say, well, great, Curtis, how long? Forever. I'd just like you to hold there forever. Now listen, you could be the strongest, most powerful, you know, the world's strongest man, winner, competition, bodybuilder on the planet. And you know something? Eventually they're going to lose. It may take days, but they're going to lose. You can't defeat gravity. And so that's what he was trying to say. If you decide to fight it, you can for a period of time, and you can successfully overcome it for a period of time, but you will never overcome it forever. The only way to overcome it forever is to get in alignment. Get in alignment, and then it just goes. So let me show you, now that you understand this, we're trying to talk about this, the hot market system. When someone enrolls, the concept that Lisa shared last week is to get someone to stage 2 immediately. 24 to 72 hours, bam, they're right there. They've already gone from stage 1 to stage 2. That's called confidence building. Now let me show you, now that you understand that it's based on business principles, and she talked about conversations and the questions, let me actually draw out the business of network marketing, how it all fits together in harmony. In fact, Romy, let me ask you a question real quick, because I want to make sure you guys started to talk about it before we came on. So come off mute for a second. Let me ask you a question. When Lisa went through the conversation last week, did she talk about briefly the 3 questions that are a part of great initial conversation?
She touched on it a little bit.
Touched on it, okay. But she didn't draw it out, so she touched on it. Okay. Okay, that's great. Then I know where to go with this. Sorry, my morning kind of breakfast thing. Okay. If you look at GoPro, Eric, and the reason well, first of all, we love Eric because we've known Eric for a long time. And Eric is one of the greatest process instructors of really good, meaty, functional skill sets that are truly part of being a professional in the network. But when he talks about invitation, he talks about or he talks about approach, he talks about three kinds. There's direct, there's indirect, and there's super indirect. Now, I'm not going to go through those in detail because they're in the book Grow Pro, and everybody ought to do that. But what we're talking about is we're going to deal with direct. Indirect and super indirect are naturally more comfortable for people because I'm not going right at someone with a conversation trying to get them. I hope to get their interest by asking them if they might know of someone or they could give me advice about something they reviewed, hoping that their review of it, for the purpose of either being able to refer me to others or seeing if they could give me advice, it's their review of it that hopefully piques their interest. Like, hey, do you know anybody who might be interested in? Well, sure, I might be interested in. That's these approaches, so I'm not going to go through that. It's this. The direct, anything direct means it's with people you have a relationship with. It's with people that you know. Because it's like you and I are cousins, and you know, we've grown up together since we were 5. I don't need technique with you. You're my cousin. I mean, gosh, you know, we all went out swimming in the lake together. We all went out on vacations together. We all had, you know, holidays together. I mean, you know, hello, come on, you're my cousin. So everything is dealing just with the direct part, okay? And that's why when Lisa said, because sometimes people come thinking that because there's a transaction where someone purchases or exchanges money, and then what they do is they get product, they think it's selling. It's not selling. It's value exchange. And so here's the way it works, and I'll break it down for you. Again, it's not selling. It's in fact just moving product. Here's where something starts. So this is where the prospecting process begins, okay? And if you take it all the way out to its conclusion, about right here, this is when someone says, yeehaw, I'm so excited. I evaluated this. That's great. I'm going to enroll. So I've become a fellow team member of Broome's Rockstars in doTERRA, okay? This is actually phase 1. I've now incurred the expense, if you will. I've procured my initial product or whatever I'm doing there. Now, the reality is that people think that when they first enroll and they get that starter pack of product, that they have an expense. They do not. There is no expense, particularly, well, in product companies. Particularly in product companies where when you first enroll, the only expense might be the $15 to $80, $90 enrollment fee, the once a year thing. That's an expense, but that's just a business fee, and you get to write that off on taxes. There is no expense in terms of product. Here's why. At least in my mind, I don't see it as an expense. I took money, but I didn't spend money. I changed the state of money. I took capital, and I exchanged it, and I received product. That's all I did. I exchanged capital for the purpose of procuring an asset, not a liability, not an expense, an asset called product. It's just half of a circle. All I need to do is complete the circle. I simply take the product and I convert it back into capital. This is just business. There's nothing complicated about this. I go open a dress shop. I take money. I go get inventory dresses. When people walk in, they take a dress, hand me back money. We just completed the circle. And so the key is, that's what Lisa was talking about. When we talk about the HOT system, and I won't go through that in detail because Lisa went through that last week, this is just a simple, fundamental human behavior where when people start a project, they call those they are closest to in relationship, say, I'd like your help. How can I help you? I'm opening a restaurant. Please stop by on Friday night so all the strangers think I'm the best restaurant in town. Great. So within 24 to 72 hours, moving through the simple HOT system, someone has gone out not selling. They instead have moved their product back into a state of capital. Why? Because, again, if I don't believe it's worthwhile, I shouldn't be in the business. If I believe it's valuable, why wouldn't I go to the people I love the most and say, hi, I've got a great value proposition for you. Hand me some capital. I'm going to hand you some product. It's a great exchange, and you get to help me. Gee, it's a win-win. It's a natural human behavior. You love me. Help me. And what happens is when they've done this, that's where they've created the most valuable asset that a new person has. That's a story of success. It doesn't have to be massive success, but it's a story of success. And because it happens so naturally, it can happen so rapidly. And a story of rapid success is not the size, it's not a multi-million-dollar success, that's not what's important. It is the fundamental principle that if someone does this, what did they do? They got back to break even very quickly. What is that? That's stage 2. So literally in a matter of 2 or 3 days, somebody, and sometimes a couple hours, bam, they went from stage 1 in business to stage 2 in business. There's only a third stage. They're 2/3 of the way through the business model. They still don't really know what they're doing, but you know what they have? Massive confidence. What happens in network marketing is there are really 3 steps to the process. We'd like people to come in to our environment. We need to then keep them in so that we can move them along the process of leadership development. Network marketing is a business. We are actually in the leadership development business. Various stages of it. Everybody will fall in their own realm. Some people will remain in the, you know, the just got started a couple of rank portion. That's okay. And some people want to go to the triple blue Hawaiian Grand Crown Royal, you know, Starfleet Commander of the Universe rank. But this is the process. First, they have to get started. We have to keep them in place long enough. And the way you do that is you build their confidence. So using this process, we've gone from no confidence, no expertise, no understanding of anything in a very short period of time, led at an action that they're an expert at. The magic of network marketing is if you can help a brand new person, and all of this, by the way, is about a brand new, first time, has never done network marketing before person. Everyone who, even if this is their 3rd or 4th company they're attempting and have not had great success before, there's a learning process they have already been through, at least to some degree. If they've had great success before, doTERRA is just where they believe their future is, and they've moved in. We don't have to worry about any of those folks. It's the brand new. I don't care if they've been a hugely successful physician or financial planner, or they never finished, you know, any formal education, manual laborer. If they've never done network marketing before, it's still brand new to them. That's who we develop it for, because everyone else figures it out along the way. We would need to get them started with us. We need to keep them with us long enough so that over time, well, how do you do that? You can move them through the stage of leadership. How do you do that? They need to feel good. And what has to happen is you have to create trust. They intellectually have heard what you said in the presentation of information. You've had the conversation. No matter what, even if they say okay, there's still uncertainty, hesitation, and a little bit of, gee, is this really going to work for me? You're telling them they can do it. I know you can do it, Romy. 1 million people have done it. You've got everything you need. They've heard that, but it's not who they are. Until they do it, it doesn't exist in reality. And the question is, can they really trust and believe what you're telling them? If you can get them this success, well, the fastest way to get somebody success is if you can give them something to do that you don't even have to train them how to do, because it's already something as a human being, they're already trained to do it. So that's what the hot system is. It is a natural human behavior. I'm starting a new project. I'm going to go to those that have close relationships, say, will you help me? One time. I don't care I'd love for you to help me forever, but if you help me one time, I'm good. It creates this immediate success. What that means is instantly they trust you. Oh my gosh, Romy said I could do it. She told me what to do. I did it, and it worked, and it didn't hurt, and it was fun, and I enjoyed it, and it was happy. And I like Romy. She gives me fun. And all of a sudden, they trust you. Their confidence shoots up. Now you can take them along the path. So when Lisa talks then about conversation, here's what the purpose is. The reason everybody thinks they need to know everything about everything, they think it's about, you think it's about you. That's why you want to know everything, because nobody wants to look stupid. So I need you to teach me everything about the product, because don't want to look stupid. It's not about you. It's about them. That's why you want to be interested, not interesting. It's about being interested in them. Why? Because if you're interested in them, it's not about a presentation, which you probably have to practice and work on a long time in front of the mirror and do it 1 million times to get good at. It's about a conversation, and everyone who's reached the age of being an adult, by the age of 18, everybody is already a conversational expert. Now, maybe an 18-year-old isn't quite as good at conversation as a 60-year-old, but they've had conversations all their life. So if you just have a conversation that focuses on them, you can't mess it up. And then naturally in conversation, part of the mastery of conversation Those who are the greatest, most successful, when I say greatest, they are the best, they're the highest, most competent level of professionals in our profession. They're great at two things. They're great at asking questions, not giving information, but asking questions, because you only learn when they're talking. You are teaching them when you're talking, but you're learning when they're talking. And the masters of our profession are those who realize it's more important to learn about them than it is to, at least at first, to establish power. So they're great at asking questions, because then I learn more and more about them, about the other person, so that then I can tell stories. That's the two things that the great masters of the profession do. They're great at telling stories. Well, what's the best story to tell? Your own personal story of success, because you can never get it wrong. How many of us hear a joke, we laugh real hard, we turn around to tell somebody, and we can't remember half of it? It's because it wasn't our joke yet. We haven't done it enough. It was their joke. They told it really well. We laughed. We go to tell it. We're not very good at it. That's why it's great to hear stories of others, and you should, and jot them down. But before you tell someone else's story, you should probably practice that in front of a mirror a couple of times, because it wasn't yours, it was theirs, and you better get it right, or it's not effective. But your story, even if you don't tell it well, you'll always tell it right, because it was you. That's the magic of the hunt market. Immediately, we've given a brand new person, using a natural behavior where they did not sell product, they moved it in exchange to their closest, most loving people. So it's a natural thing. They don't have to be taught how to ask for help from people they know and love. We give them a couple of guidelines and set them loose. They can do this really with very little hand-holding, which makes it a higher speed activity that a team can duplicate very quickly. And when they've got a story, personal story of success, it's very simple to move them into this version of prospecting, because it's something they're already good at. Let's now take your hot list to do this. Let's take your warm market list, which we all make out, that has 50 or 100 names on it, and let's start having a conversation with them about them. But in the conversation, I want you to ask 3 questions. Now, you don't just sit there and say, here, I got 3 questions I'm going to ask you. So, Romy, I'm taking a survey. Let me check these off. These are people that you have a relationship with, or you're reconnecting a relationship, or in conversation you're building a relationship. This isn't a police interrogation. So these aren't, when I say questions, they're really themes. It's information you want to make sure you get out of the conversation, so you lead the conversation away that you can learn these 3 things. And the first thing is, and the more questions you learn to ask, the more people will tell you everything you want to know. They just open up. So the first question is, are you happy? And what we mean by that is, are you satisfied and content that you are getting every single thing out of life that you and those you love and care about the most deserve? I didn't ask if you want more money. I said, are you satisfied and content that you've drained every drop of life out of life? You can talk to multimillionaires who say, so, you want to make more money? They're like, no, I'm pretty good there. That's kind of the end of that one. But if you ask multimillionaires, do you have every drop out of life you want? Most will say no, because now they're searching for that next level, which is called significance. Well, great. If I could show you a way that you could actually create a significant impact in the lives of so many others, would that be of interest? So, are you happy? The second question is, great. By the way, 90% of the people aren't happy, no matter what their income, no matter what. They're not at a point of complete satisfaction, but they, in most cases, have no idea how to find that, what shift they could make. Leads to the second thing. Well, what are you doing about that, or what plan are you following? Are you following a plan? Is there a plan you're following? Do you know is getting you there? Well, I already know they don't have a plan. As Lisa probably would have said, I know they don't have a plan because they're sitting here talking to me. If they had a plan, they'd be off working their plan. They'd be committed and focused and drive. By the way, you don't have to be at the destination you're attempting to, or you have a desire to reach, to be really happy with what's going on in your life right now. If you're on a path and you know and can see that you're getting there, that's when the happiness factor kicks in. Now it even drives you more. It drives you more excitedly, almost blissfully, because you see that your plan is getting you there. You're really feeling good. You may not be at the destination. You may never get there, but knowing that you're achieving, that's what makes you happy. Most people, they have no plan. The reason I weave these themes into my conversation, and by the way, this doesn't have to be a 14-hour conversation. In a 5-minute conversation, 10-minute conversation, you can get connected to people, and after the first 2 or 3 minutes, when all the walls start to come down, all the how are you? Oh, I'm fine. All that fluff starts to fall, and a real conversation starts to take place. That's when this stuff can happen pretty simply. And then the third question is, great, would you like to see one? Well, Well, if you don't have a plan, would you like to see one? And this is where Lisa's brilliant, and she probably would have, might have mentioned it last week, but I'll reiterate it. When Lisa gets to that question with people, well, you know, would you like to see a plan that might be able to, now, listen, it's probably not for you. Why does she say that? It immediately takes away the pressure. It's what, you know, sometimes called the takeaway. It's not really taking away, it's just saying, hey, listen, I'm not trying to shove something down your throat. We've just had an open conversation because I'm focusing on you, because I'm just a person who likes people. And it's about trying to establish trust. So I've just tried to learn, I'm trying to learn about you because I'd like to help you, if it's possible. So if you don't have everything you're looking for, if you don't even have a path you're following, would you like to see a path? Now, it's probably not for you. I'm sure you'll love the products. Everybody does. Well, that's a subliminal plant. See, my hot market, I only moved products, so they're already enjoying the product. I'm now coming to a different group. This group, I know part of their evaluation will be to evaluate the product. A business evaluation, even if it's quick, would be, okay, what are we selling? Or what are we moving? What business are we in? You know, are we in the water filter business? Are we in the essential oil business? What are we in? So I know they're going to see the products as part of the process. So I may as well kind of nudge them the right way by saying, look, it's probably not for you, the plan, but I'm sure you'll love the product. Everybody does. It's just a real quick thing. So as they're evaluating the products, subliminally they're realizing, well, if I don't like the products, I'm one of the dummies because everybody else seems to love it. But here's what I just did. But Romy, just in a small chance, the small percentage chance that maybe this would be a plan that would interest you, that if you did see what I've seen, I think together we could do really special things. What I've just done is I've just given you an opportunity to make a choice. I didn't manipulate it. I just said, look, we had a conversation. Are you happy? No. Got a plan? No. We want to see one? Probably not for you. I think you'll love the product. Everybody does. But just in case you were able to see what I saw, I think we could do some special things together, but I'll leave that to you. So would you give me an hour to look at it? There's your choice. No? Okay, good luck. I hope you find your plan. Yes. Great. If you say yes, here's all I need you to do, Romy. Would you then just tell them the story of what you just did in your 20, or a year from now, 15 years from now, tell them the story of what you did in your first 24 to 72 hours, because that's the most important thing to them. What happened? So just tell them your story. Well, the magic for a brand new person is they have one, because we gave them a simple thing to do, a natural human behavior, and very quickly they got a story. So all you do is say, look, just tell them your story before you point them at our team information, what I like to call the info circle, because every team does it differently in every company in the world. What's the first thing you normally show them? Is it a DVD? Is it go to the website, watch the movie? Is it, you know, go click on this link to our team site and watch this recorded hangout, watch this business presentation we recorded, or plug into it's Tuesday morning, hey, come to the meeting tonight, or here's the conference call, or here's whatever it is. Here's the information circle, because here's what we do in, you know, Romy's Rockstars doTERRA team. This is just how we do it. So just in conversation, here's the 3 questions. Give them the choice. If they say sure, they'll take a look. You know, not guaranteed. I'm not guaranteed you're going to do it. Because let me tell you what happened to me in my first 24/72 hours. Really? What happens is you just open their mind. Really? Romy, you did that? Romy, this is never, you've done these things a million, they never were. You actually did, wow, okay, I will take a look. It's a different mindset. And as Eric Worre says, then you use the simple if I, will you, meaning, okay, well, great, if I send you a link, will you watch it? If I drop off a DVD, will you take a look at it? If I give you the number of the call tonight, will you be on it? Or whatever it is, that's all a new person has to do. Because once it comes in here, this is where the team momentum, the team environment, the team system, the team processes. This is why a brand new person doesn't have to worry about being interesting and knowing everything about the product, because you're never supposed to talk about the product and teach the product to your prospects. Why? Because they're never going to be able to teach it the way you do, because they're not you. You can't teach it. None of you watching will ever be able to teach these products the way Romy does, because you're not Romy. She could never explain them the way you do, because she's not you. We're all different. But we can all send people the same DVD. We can all send people to Romy's recorded presentation. We can all send people. In other words, the purpose of a system is so it is perfectly uniform every single time. Now the pressure is off individual performance ability. It's just the system. And if we find that we then later come up with a second DVD or a second recorded presentation and it works better than the first, guess what? We delete the first one and say, great, this is the one you send them to. If we do another recording down the road and it doesn't work as good, we delete it and keep going with the one we've got. That's just the natural evolution of business. Always looking for ways to improve, testing and trying. Now that worked a little better. Let's do this instead. That's not quite as good. Let's stay where we are. And so a brand new person, the only thing they're doing from the moment they enroll, they're naturally moving product through a natural human behavior, through their natural closest people who are willing to help at least one time. The quality of the products turns some of those people who try it here into long-term consumers, because product creates customers, people don't. People create folks who, marketing creates people to try a product. The product causes that person to become a loyal, long-time user or not. If it's a great product experience, the product makes them stay on. If it's not a good product experience, the product doesn't get them stay on. But moving the product to get the investment back and get to stage 2 break even, that's a natural process. Immediately, a brand new person through their warm list can start going through and having conversations where the themes they easily share, because anybody can be taught in 30 minutes how you have a conversation, and these are the points you touch on. Teaching people, the first conversation you have, you're going to be terrible because it's your first one. But the 100th conversation you have, you're going to be outstanding. And so somewhere in the middle, you go from terrible to outstanding. And so all they do is offer a choice. If somebody says, sure, I'll take a look, say, great, let me tell you my story real quick, because I'm just opening up your mind. Now I'm going to throw you into the middle of this process that all our team mentors and coaches support. You're going to have questions. As you do, the team and the system, I'll put you on 3 ways. I'll put you on conference calls. I'm not going to answer the question. Why? Because you'll never be able to answer the question the way I do, and I'm training you, even if you don't realize it. So I will not answer the question. I'll say, great question, I had it too. Let me put you on the phone with someone who taught me, because they're really the better expert than I am. In other words, a brand new person, all they do is get them in the circle. The team coaching process takes over. And eventually, when the person comes out, guess what? They've got to make a choice. Now's their opportunity. So are you on the team or not? About 7 to 8 out of 10, 78% should say no, because that's about the way it's going to break down. Guess what? Part of the evaluation, they've been evaluating, and you let them try a product here or there or something, so some of them may be customers. Great. And some won't be anything. Okay, it wasn't the right time. Maybe they will 6 months from now. Maybe they'll come back later. Maybe something will change in their life, and they'll call you back and say, are you still doing that weird oil thing? You are? Because you really are? How's it going for you? Wow, even better, bigger? Okay, well, because they just laid me off, and I'd like to look at it again. Okay, great. Your choice is different now, because I respected it, and so you respected me. Or they say yes. That's about 2 to 3 out of 10. What happens when they say yes? Guess what? The brand new person, they are the expert in this first step. So I, as the leader, don't have to do this. I turn it back to that brand new person. Hey, how about that? Your prospect said yes. Romy, I'd like you to take them through the hot system because you're already an expert in it. At least this part. You're the expert in it because you did it, so you take them by the hand. See, here's the power of this methodology. The way you get to the top elite ranks, let's say there's 1,000 steps that you have to go through to become a top performer in doTERRA. It starts with step 1, then it goes to step 2, then it goes to step 3. That's how life works. The nice thing about this methodology is the very second a brand new person finishes this step 1, which may take just a couple of days, guess what? They are now a step 1 professor, and they're a step 2 on student. The minute they completed step 2 one time, they're now a step 2 professor. They could take their new person and teach them how to do the hot market because they are an expert at it. They successfully completed it. Now, they're not as, it's like a professor on his first day of school versus a 20-year, tenured professor. They're a little stumbly bumbly, but you know something, they're capable. And that's part of leadership development. We let them go stumble and bumble, and we're behind them. Children, we can't walk for them. You've got to, we kind of hold it so they don't like crack their head open, but we're letting them fall. We're letting them trip and stumble because that's how everybody gets better. So the natural process is they do step 1, they're a step 1 professor, then they're a step 2 student. We let them do step 2. They do it themselves. Now when someone says yes, take them through it. I'll be here to back you up. Very rapidly, our new members become professors at hot market and prospecting and conversation. This happens naturally. When do they become good at learning, at presenting the products? When they've heard it 1,000 times or 100 times or 50 times. They suddenly just start waking up in the middle of the morning. They wake up 4 o'clock in the morning and they're spouting out about essentially. They just suddenly just, because they're like, how do children learn a language? They hang out with a family. They say a couple of words when they're 8 to 10 to 12 months, and at 5, you can't get them to shut up. And at 30, they're college professors. That's how it works. So same thing here. They just hang out and hear the product. Guess what? They become a product expert. They don't have to know it before they start. They just naturally become the expert when they're supposed to be the expert. When do they know the comp plan? When they've heard it 100 times, and finally it clicks. They go, okay. So this is a natural process, and what happens is you get a team of brand new people. You measure it by the brand new, inexperienced. Inexperienced people move into action because it's comfortable action, not uncomfortable action. It's natural human behavior, and so they move into it and through it much faster, and it's a much more amazing result for them. And that is the business of network marketing, starting from proper prospecting all the way through to great, oops, hang on a second, I just had a thing pop out. There you go. So, hang on just a second. I've got something on my computer. There we go. Now, and so, Romy, here's the process, and here's where I want to wrap it up for you guys. And then we can open it up for Q&A, and we can address some of them. Oh, there it is. That's what I was looking at. Okay, perfect. I had a notification pop up. The magic is, let's go back here for one last second. This will wrap up the business and network marketing, and then we open questions. Let's take a look at right here. If this is the process that we understand, and this is for direct approach. Again, direct approach is, having a conversation is direct. Indirect and super indirect, those are the levels you go to next. You go to the warm market, taking the direct approach, the super and the indirect and super indirect. That's the next stage. That's when someone's done this a few times, they've got some real confidence, then we can teach them those things. But this is all for the direct. If someone was prospected properly, okay, let's say Lisa was prospecting Romy. And so Lisa started this way with Romy. And Romy, in conversation, said, sure, I'll take a look. And Lisa shared her story. And then Romy evaluated, said, sure. And then Romy, in her first 24, 72 hours, in fact, moves her product, completes that heart market process, develops some consumers. When Romy hits right here, we can sit down with Romy and say, Romy, now I know you've only been a part of doTERRA. I know, first of all, this is your first network marketing exposure. I know you've only been a part of the company for about 72 hours, but let me explain something to you. Right now, at this very instant, you are a fully trained 6-figure earner in network marketing. You're just not consciously aware of it. There is nothing else that you will need to learn. You will need to become better at some of the things that you don't even realize you already know. You'll need to become better at them, but you won't have to learn any more than what you've already learned to be a 6-figure earner, 6-figure per year earner. Now, if you eventually, you're going to have to become better at some of these things to actually earn that 6 figures, but that's a natural process. That's going to happen organically. Now, if you want to become a 7-figure earner, then that's going to take a few years of time. That's going to take some committed effort at learning additional skills and perfecting those skills over time, but that also will happen naturally and organically. You're not going to have to go, just as a natural human process, it's going to happen for you, but you've got to be committed probably for the next 3 to 5 years if you want to become a 7-figure earner or have that potential. But right now, nothing else. 3 days in the business, nothing else you have to learn. Let me share with you why. You're just not consciously aware of it. Romy, let me take you back for a second. Do you remember when Lisa first reached out to you and she said that, you guys got on the phone or she met with you for lunch? Remember how Lisa started having a conversation with you? She wasn't selling you or anything. She just had a conversation where you guys connected and she was talking to you about you and just asked what was going on in life and where things were and how the family was and just, what was, just generally what was happening. And do you remember during the conversation she asked you some questions where you could open up and share with her honestly where you were? Well, that's actually there's actually a specific process that we teach people about how to do that, how to have a conversation, because she really truly wanted to know where you were, what was going on in your life, and what your dreams might be. And desires, remember how she asked you if you might be interested in taking a look at a plan just to see if it might be of interest? Probably wouldn't be, but just to take a look. Well, Romy, do you think that you'd be willing to people that you really care about? It's not about you. Do you just be willing to reach out to them at a time that works for them? Just have a conversation with them about them, and so that you really can, not just the surface stuff, but really find out where they are and see if maybe they'd have the same desire as you did, and if they'd be willing to take a look at a plan just the way she asked you, leave it up to them. It's their choice. But now that you really see what she did, you think you could do that? Well, sure, of course. You know why? Because we've been having conversations with people since we were little kids. Well, and then do you remember when you said you'd at least take a look? By the way, Romy, some people won't even take a look, so that's okay. If they won't take a look, that's just where they are in life. But if they take a look, remember how she just told you her story of what she did in the first 24, 72 hours? Yeah, I do. Remember how that kind of got you excited because you were, kind of caught you off, you were like shocked that Lisa actually was able to pull that off? Yeah. And so then all she did is she asked you if she pointed you at a website or showed you a DVD, she just asked if you'd look at it, right? Yep. And then you just looked at it. And remember, after that, Lisa really didn't do anything except keep introducing you to people. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, if we gave you the names and numbers of all those people, or if we showed you, remember she sent you onto you looked at some webinars. Remember you went down to that Tuesday meeting and that Saturday training? Great. Well, could you give people the address to go to the training too? Sure. Great. And then when you were done, you had a lot of questions. Remember, Lisa never answered the questions. Other people did, but you got all the answers. And when you were done, you said, "I think I want to try this." Yeah. Great. Well, I want you to know, Romy, you're actually part of the unique. Because you're part of a special group, because only about 2 to 3 out of 10 really actually should make the choice you did. So 7 or 8 out of 10 really, this isn't, that's why we tell them it may not be for you, because in most cases it probably isn't. So don't be afraid if people say that it's not for them, because that's probably maybe just being a customer is the best thing they could do. Remember when you said yes, then Lisa stepped back in and she walked you through how to do the hot system. And just in the last 3 days, you moved all that product, got all those people trying it, right? That's all you're ever going to have to do. It's the only thing you have to do. Everything else over time are the things you'll naturally want to do just because you realize you're good at doing them. Because that's like children growing up. You'll just be better at riding the bike. You'll be better at driving the car. You'll just be better at it. Because, Romy, if you'll just now start asking, having conversations, and getting people, if they say they'll take a look, if you'll just tell your story. Now, you'll be a little rough at it at first, but after you've told 100 times, you'll tell this story of the last 3 days like it's been part of your whole life. If you'll just do that and just know that as people take a look, most probably won't decide it's for them, some will, because then if they do, you're going to teach them how to do the hot system just like Lisa taught you, because now when they're done, you and they are having conversations. You and they are giving people choices. You and they are sharing your stories about the first success, and you and they will eventually have more people you give a chance to take a look, have some people saying yes. Now you and those folks teach those new people how to do the hot system. Now you and a whole bunch of people are having conversations, showing respect to other people, just giving them a chance to make a choice, because for most people in their life, they just wish they had a choice. They don't think they have a choice. They want other things. They don't want to be sold. They want to be treated with respect. They want an opportunity. They want to make a change. They're not happy where they are. They don't have a plan. They just don't even feel they have a choice in life, so they feel they're stuck. It's not about selling. Just give people choices and let it take control. It'll run there. And there you go. That's the true diagram outline of the process of the business of network marketing. When they enroll their stage 1, hot system stage 2, therefore the second they begin to prospect properly, they can move directly into profit, because when people enroll, there's always usually an initial bonus reward of some kind, and as people engage, that's where you build teams and the team rewards come in. And so we can literally get people from phase 1 to phase 2 break even and into profit faster, because all of it is aligned with the natural laws of human behavior. So there's not a lot of expert training that has to go around. Just let people be who they are and do what they've done all their life. So there you go. That's the business. It up. We can take a look at some of these questions and we can see where we are. Romy, I think you're still on. Oh, there you go. Yep. Hey, girl, that makes sense?
It was perfect. It was perfect. So there's a couple of things for the people that are on the Hangout Live right now. So you guys have a chance to win a couple more prizes, and it'll be after the Hangout. But last week, Lisa talked about the script for the Hot Market system. I put that in the Rockstars group under the file section. So if you haven't found that, I recommend that you go and find that, because the first person that uses one of those scripts and sends me the script as far as how you are going to reach out to somebody, you'll get a free bottle of oil. So that's the first person that does it. If you don't know where the script is on there, make sure that you go and do that. And so as far as what Curtis taught today, that was awesome. So with everything, repetition that's the way for me, it sinks in. And so I encourage you to go in and watch the video, the recording. For me, my system buffers a little bit, and so I'm going to go back in and listen to it as well. So the first person that goes through, listens to the recording, and follows every one of those steps, and brings someone on as either a consumer or a partner, someone that we will all have an opportunity to serve and help empower their life, you will also get a prize. So, but I want you to make sure that you follow those steps, and this is something that's different for me, and it's going to be different for you. So don't feel like, holy smokes, I can't do that. This is new. It's new for all of us.
Romy, let me share something with everybody. Here's what I'd like everybody to do.
Okay.
Anytime you learn new information, and Eric talks about it at GoPro, when you and a lot of your team members go to GoPro this fall, you're going to see so many speakers from so many different companies and so many backgrounds giving such massively great information. But as Eric wraps it up at the end of the weekend, one of the things he says now, you've taken enough notes, you've probably learned 38 or 412, wow, great things I could do. Trying to deploy 38 to 412 new things would probably not be a smart thing to do. You've got all this good stuff. Picking one and doing that one thing is probably a good thing to do. Then pick a second one, that type thing. So here's what I would recommend for everybody, and I think this will help you. Because no matter how you approach your business, if you understand the principles, you'll naturally start to do things. You'll just naturally start to do things that are more in alignment without all the other technical stuff. But when Lisa talks about conversation, there's an exercise that I would like everybody to try. And anybody who watches this, you can do this very simply. The true greatness in our profession comes with those who really do understand. It is about connection and then guidance. If we can connect with people and we can guide them as effective servant leaders or servant guides, then that's when you build huge long-term stability. And in order to do that, you really do need to become great at conversation. That's all it is. Become great at conversation, and in that conversation, I ask questions and tell stories, and you've mastered the universe. Here's a great exercise. This is something that my mentor had me do a long time ago, 23 years ago. Here's a great exercise to start beginning to become a master conversationalist. Here's what I want all of you to do. Take doTERRA and essential oils and set them aside. No other hidden agenda other than you becoming better at conversation. What I'd like you to do, go out and find someone. Go think, just pull out your address book or whatever, or just close your eyes for a second. I want you to think of someone that you're really close to, have been really close to, a relative or a friend, that you just, for whatever reason, life's gotten in the way, kids, whatever it is, just for whatever life is thrown out there, you've actually not seen or spoken to them in probably 8, 10, 12 months. It needs to be a significant period of time. Really close relationship, but it's just been that year of distance, unfortunately. Pick that person, pick a couple of them, and call them today and say, Romy, I'm just reaching out to you because, sweetheart, we haven't talked in forever. I know life's been busy, some nutty things have happened, I'm sure it has for you, and I just suddenly realized we haven't spoken or seen each other in almost a year, and for whatever reason, you've been on my mind the last few days. Listen, I'd really like to catch up. What's your schedule like? Sometime in the next couple of days, are you available, like for a coffee in the afternoon, or for just a lunch? Let's go down to someplace and grab a sandwich or something, and get a time where you can sit down with them face to face. Here's what I want you to do. Now you know that you're actually competing. You're in a competition with yourself. They don't know. What I want you to do is you want to see how long, from the moment you meet with them and sit down and really get into it, how long you can start a conversation that remains exclusively about them. You will not let it come back to talking about you. What is everybody's favorite subject? Themselves. And I know you want to talk about yourself, but you need to practice conversing with others, focused exclusively. This is your practice. So here's the game they don't know about. When you first sit down and the waiter or waitress gets the drink order, or just bringing water or whatever, as you're getting ready to order a sandwich or whatever, you finally say, hey, Romy, great, okay, now everything's out of the way. So catch me up. Tell me what's been going on in the last 10 or 12 months. What's happening in your life? And glance at your watch. That's when the time starts. Now, what you have to do is you are listening to her about her, or him about him. You're listening to them. You just opened it up. You have no other agenda than you want to keep focused the conversation on them. It's about mastering the power of conversation with others about them. And so you better be paying attention, because other than that opening question, you have no idea where this conversation is going to go, because it all depends on her. So I'm going to listen to exactly what she says, and whatever she says, I then ask a question about that. And whatever she says next, I'm listening, because then I'm going to ask a question about that. And we may take us, and I better be listening at first, because she may tell me 4 or 5 different things. But then she says, so what about you? So, well, hang on a second. That one thing you mentioned is really interesting. Tell me more about that new job assignment thing. Now, she's also told me about what the kids or the grandkids or the cousin or the nephew or whatever happened. I've got these other 4 or 5 major topics, but I go pick one and I say, tell me more about that new job assignment. What is it? What about that? And she keeps going. And she says, well, what about you? Well, hang on. I've got so much to share with you. I'll give that a second. No, tell me more about what happened with your sister-in-law. So she had a baby. Was it a boy or a girl? Boom. And in other words, all you did was listen to her to create enough information in your head. You keep redirecting until one of 2 things happens. The lunch ends. She thinks it's the best lunch she's ever been to, because it's the first time in her whole life that for an hour and a half only people wanted to talk to her about her. Or she says, what is this? Shut up. Is this an interrogation? She grabs her roll and bounces it off your head and said, shut up about me. My gosh, tell me something about you. I'm tired of talking. And then look at your watch and go, okay, 17 minutes, 27 minutes, 38 minutes. See how long you can go. Redirecting and redirecting and redirecting. Because if you're really good, there will be times where one day in your life you may be able to have a conversation for an hour before they finally either throw the roll at you or whatever. In fact, to show you why it's important to do these things, we shared this concept with a group a week ago, and we're going to be hopping on a call later today. And the top leader of that group, who is a 7-figure earner, led by example, and immediately 2 days later posted in their Facebook group, who has done their assignment, who's had their conversation assignment. And, yesterday I had lunch with someone that I called. I made it to 23 minutes, wasn't satisfied. Today I just finished my lunch. So in the following 2 days after the assignment, the 7-figure top-tier earner, leading by example, said, I just had my second one today. I went 49 minutes. Dang it, I promise I'm going to make it to an hour before I stop. And the reason I share that with everybody, regardless of what you do this week to go obtain customers or partners, if you were to go through that exercise and realize if you really do focus with an intent on others, you'll actually find it is incredibly fun. It is incredibly personally satisfying. You feel wonderful that you really are giving recognition and you are giving respect to someone else. The reward that you receive from that exercise is extraordinary, and the skill that you begin to develop is amazing. And if you learn to do that, you will notice that your customer acquisition and your partner acquisition numbers will go through the roof. So there's an actual assignment that everybody could go out and practically apply this, and whatever else you do, that's great. But if you did that this week, you're on your way.
That's a great idea. Love that one.
And then just share it in the Facebook group. Just share in the group. Hey, I hit 17 minutes. Hey, I hit 22 minutes. Hey, whatever. Yep. And just encourage and help each other along.
Great idea.
All right, girl. Well, if there's nothing else, then yeah. If you got any questions or anything, then we're good. Otherwise, I think we can probably set them all loose and let them go out and work hard to win bottles of oils and stuff.
Yeah. Thank you very, very much, Curtis. I really, really appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I hope
we're
you
just
have
getting started. It's going to be a ton of fun over the weeks ahead.
Yeah. How's your eye, by the way? Hope your eye is doing well.
It's doing good. Actually, today, my right eye is great. It's 2015. I mean, it seems like a monster. My left eye today is the last day I had to take dilation drops because I haven't been able to see anything out of it since the eye surgery because you have to keep it dilated. Because Friday morning I have a follow-up appointment, and at that point, I'm sure everything's great, and off we go. And I've got bionic eyes and get to see 20/20 for the rest of my life. So.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you very much for being here. Give Lisa my love, and thank you so much. Have an amazing day.
All right. You too.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.